Hello, leader. Thank you for tuning in to this very special episode of the Fierce Factor podcast. It's your host, Kaylee here. And in case you're new around here, welcome. You have joined an incredible community of fierce leaders aligned on a mission to help 100 inspiring and intentional women in aesthetics and wellness cross the next $1 million milestone in their business this year. So a typical episode sounds a lot like me talking about everything from business growth mindset to tactical and practical strategies for excelling as a business owner in our dynamic and fast-paced industry, and interviews with industry thought leaders and trailblazers who will absolutely inspire and uplift you. But today I have a little twist for you. What I am bringing to you today is actually a little peek inside what an experience is like working with our team inside of our Pop Leadership Academy. Every week, our academy comes together for learning and growing in really a variety of different formats. And what you'll be listening in on today is a co-working session led by our strategic growth advisor, Justyn Green. So Justyn runs and manages a multi-million-dollar aesthetic practice in Southern California, and she happens to be my right hand in leading the development and rollout of a very exciting program we launched earlier this year, exclusively for the current and developing practice managers of women leaders inside of our academy. So I found that so often business owners, they wait to hire a manager until their hair is on fire or they already have experienced challenges that really could have been prevented by having the attention and focus of a competent practice manager in the first place. So we have developed a pathway for our academy leaders to begin the management development process with high growth individuals inside of their companies early on. What we do is work alongside them to recognize and reward top talent by investing in them, by sharpening their skills, their competency, and their confidence, around blossoming into higher roles such as practice management. And another incredible benefit of collaborating alongside a growth advisor like Justyn, who's focused on the practice management side, is that the duality of her role, being in the saddle, managing an office in real time, gives us the ability to bring an unparalleled level of practical wisdom into our curriculum. And today you're going to gain some insights from her tested and validated experience working alongside industry vendors to really leverage their expertise, their resources, their collateral, all in support of aligning with each of their business growth goals. And one thing Justyn and I really agree upon is that, yes, we have some good reps out there and some bad reps out there. I kind of get that. But at the end of the day, aligning with your reps and really leveraging them and their resources and coming alongside as partners with them, really thinking about what's in it for them and how can we also help support them is truly going to be a game changer in terms of helping you as a business owner achieve your goals. And so this really is underpinned, this curriculum that she's delivering is underpinned by the thought process that our reps and our vendors and our industry is really our partner, and working in partnership with industry is a way to fast track you to your goals. I'm going to share just about half of this session with you. It's jam-packed with tips that you do not want to miss. Everything from getting more samples from reps to co-marketing with them to negotiating pearls for when you're ready to invest in your next device. And remember that the session, it's an internal training within our academy. So you'll hear questions and contributions from other members as they are sharing best practices with one another. I left the second half of this off, which was really most of the opinion piece of it, kept that internal, but you will hear some collaboration back and forth. Okay, leader, I hope you enjoy this session as much as I did and that you gain a ton of knowledge hearing from the experts in the trenches. And P.S., if you like these kinds of podcasts and you would like to hear more of the inside scoop, be sure to share this on Instagram, spread the word, give me a tag at Kaylee.Lindholm and the Fierce Factor Podcast, IG at the Fierce Factor Podcast. All right, goddess, enjoy. Hi there. Welcome to the Fierce Factor Podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm. And I think it's time for us women to shift the conversation in business and step into our feminine leadership to do the most iconic work the aesthetic industry has ever seen. Each week, I'll be bringing a powerful dose of strategy, sarcasm, solutions, and sass that will rev up your creativity and ignite your brilliance as you link arms with me along our shared path of personal and professional growth in 20 minutes or less. Let's go.
I was going to share a silly story about an experience I had with my dad. My parents are both business owners. My dad owned a moving and storage business, and my mom owned a hair salon. So growing up, I was always working with them in some capacity or another. And when I was kind of putting together the stuff that we're going to go through today, I was just thinking about, with vendors, it's super helpful to remember that a good one always should have a stake in your success. So that's something to always remember. And I was remembering once that my dad took me to a car dealership when he bought a used truck, and just the haggling that went on in this whole production with these people, like just really hardline negotiating skills with him, was really an eye-opener for me. But they finally settled on a price, and we went inside to sit down and pull up all the paperwork and do the signatures, and he had his checkbook and everything. And he wrote everything out and then would not sign the check. And he declared that he would not pay 1 single cent until every bit of the marketing for the car dealership was removed from the body of the car. They were perplexed, since the license plate, the little plate frame could easily come off, but there was like a logo on the bumper and this like 3-dimensional plaque type thing that had been attached to the body of the car. And none of that was made to be removed. So from there, the negotiations resumed. So I was amazed that for a used truck, he shrewdly negotiated a package of car washes, oil changes, new floor mats, all for the opportunity to have him drive around advertising for that dealership. Oh. And we're in a small town, so this was like his whole thing. So the lesson that I came away with was that if you're going to be doing some of the footwork, don't be afraid to ask for what your time and effort in this shared endeavor is. So that, is this kind of something that I remember learning about at that point. And it kind of applies here, that really what we really need to think about when we're dealing with all of this stuff with our vendors is, what's in it for them. And they should definitely have a little take in our success. So, another thing that always stands out to me with dealing with vendors is the ask. Be the squeakiest wheel. Be ready to ask for things that you need, even if they say no. It's worth an ask. Because anybody that you can enlist in the success for, especially promoting a product line, is super helpful. So my tip number 1 is to stay in. I was going to read this little piece too. The ability to form great mutual beneficial relationships with vendors is key to helping you promote any retail line or treatment within your business. Even if you're dealing with reps who you already have a relationship with, or might be considering new vendors to work with, investing in that relationship and learning to ask for help from them will go a very long way. Over the years, I've become much more comfortable with looping reps into my marketing routine. If I am getting ready to start a new relationship with a product line, it's super important to know what to ask for and how to speak their language. Get specific on your needs and expectations and stay front of mind with regular contact. So that's my number 1 tip, is stay in contact with your reps and really ask for their support and be open for it. When I first started working, and my mom too, whenever reps would walk into her salon, it would be like, here's this person. But especially if you have front desk staff, or, even for yourself, if you have some time, then take a minute to just say hi. I'm not shy about being like, I do not have time right now. And so a lot of times people will be like, oh, okay, well, let me set up 20 minutes or when's a good time, and definitely they know, and they know that they're walking in on your time. So people that aren't respectful of your time, really, it's hard to form a relationship with those people. I totally get it, but just be real, let them know where you're at. Be sure to add them to your marketing list so that they're seeing all of your emails, they're seeing your marketing efforts, because many times, if I shoot an email out and maybe I'm like mentioning we do new face microcurrent. If I'm mentioning that in my email, my new face rep will be on the phone with me being like, hey, can I shoot a video for you for Instagram or something like that, which is really awesome. Super helpful. Build a list that includes all of your contacts related to your vendors and treatments. And make sure that you have it posted in your back room, posted at your front desk. So it's handy so that if you have a question about a product, or even whenever at our front desk, if someone has a product question, I've trained my receptionist to shoot a text message or pick up the phone and just be like, hey, I have a question about this product. And they love helping. The more you reach out to them, the more apt they're able to just know what your needs are and step up with some help there. Get social. Yeah, and it really helps. Get social. Make sure you follow your vendors and reps on social media, and be sure to ask them to follow you back. Find out how you can get social media support. So a lot of times, like especially with Jan Marini, they have a little team that manages all of their social media. So sometimes if they're not instantly refollowing or whatever, I make sure to shoot a text message to them. And that's part of, on the list, I have the numbers or the social media contacts for all of my vendors, so that if I post something, that I can be sure to ping them as well and be like, hey, I've got something up there. Can you repost or collaborate with me on this? Ask your reps to share with you their marketing calendar. And I really have become more in the past couple of years, become better at formulating a marketing plan that extends 3 to 6 months, really. And if you ask the reps to share with you their marketing schedule, try to schedule that here in December or January, because a lot of times that's when they already have their marketing schedule set. And then you can kind of know what they have coming up and kind of build out things that are maybe already going to have collateral or marketing built in on their end. A lot of times I like to ask vendors when they're going to have their national sales and marketing meetings, because then I just put that in my calendar as a reminder to ask them, like, hey, anything new on the horizon, especially with, Allergan, they have all these crazy incentives coming from their rewards programs, et cetera, that if I'm ahead of it, they already, nowadays, they even know, like as soon as they have a marketing meeting, they make a meeting with me right after, because I want to hear about all of it. And they know that from me already. And then this is my super, like one of my favorite things is anytime there's a new guy working with a vendor, I want to be the first person to really be super nice to them. I want to give them, tell them how it's, the things that I really liked about the way things were in the past, so that they're sure to work with me kind of in the same vein. And then I also like to give them a little bit of guidance, so if, it's like, well, I'm kind of just trying to elicit the behaviors that I really enjoy from someone. Like, hey, I always want to have a bundle of testers or brochures or bags in every order, something like that. So really, it's your opportunity to kind of really invest in that relationship first and foremost. And then it becomes automatic for them because they know that you're open to them, and that they know that you're open to their help. So anytime there's some sort of collateral or offer or something like that, I find that I'm the first to know, especially face to face. So just staying in close contact, shooting out a text message, shooting out, emails and stuff really goes a long way. Number 2, I'd say my number one thing is get a marketing plan going at least 3 months in advance. I think a lot of us are kind of already doing that. And even just a rough outline of what you want your monthly focus to be can be sufficient, because then it just kind of, once you have it in your mind, it all just kind of evolves around what you're wanting to already focus on. It's, like this time of year, we've got peels. That's front of mind for most people in our industry. Shaking off the summer skin. In summer, we're SPF focused, preventing damage, that kind of thing. So it's kind of like, if you start building stuff around that stuff, it's real. If you build your marketing around that stuff and those focuses, it makes it kind of automatic. So I think we also too, I found yesterday, we have a marketing calendar tool. So we'll link that up once we post all of this stuff. That's really helpful. I've used that before. And then we're going to do a co-working session in October 14th, to really kind of nail down our holiday planning for marketing and like a Black Friday stuff. So we're going to kind of touch more on that. So if you're able to attend that day, it's really going to be a good one. And we can work through some holiday planning together. Tip number 3, keep your marketing and event agenda in mind. And again, don't forget to ask, talk with your reps. Most of the time, reps can offer assistance with education pieces, staff motivators, promotional items, gifts with purchase. And if you have an advertising goal or topic, share it, because a lot of times I'll get great feedback and offers that really can help make that stuff successful. A lot of times I've had reps that, if it's a specific, focus for a month, even if they don't have products that they can help me with, sometimes I've had people make signage, personalized signage for me. I've had people put together little gifts with little sachet bags with testers, bring me branded tester pots or brochures, just sometimes those little things that maybe aren't necessarily product in a bottle. They're just little pieces that can really help. And then also, when you keep your agenda in mind, if I have for October, November, December, I already have that going, I'll just shoot an email out to all of my vendors saying hey, this is what I have going. Who can pitch in here? And, there again, I'm not getting super specific with them, but I'll just kind of let them know what my monthly focus is going to be. And they all see on the email thread that they're being included. So it kind of makes a little bit of competition, and people typically will throw out ideas or products, etc. It's also super helpful too, to have reps helping with staff incentives, so that if you have any goals, that they can maybe pitch in some products or an Amazon gift card or something like that, that can be really helpful to motivate. Of course, keeping in mind seasonal business, peel season, sunscreen season, etc. Everyone has their kind of strong points that hit during certain seasons. And if you have an upcoming event, raffle items are huge, especially getting people to show up. I know we were talking about an event the other day that someone was looking for RSVPs. I've had great success where I've had vendors. I even had a Allergan rep put up syringes of Juvederm just for people to RSVP. So it was really a great way to get people to really garner some interest. And then, of course, there's some follow-up and stuff that goes into that. But raffle items, people always love something fun like that. Again, let them know about your marketing plans and needs so that they can get proactive on how to help. Staff incentives, education for staff on specific promos or new launches. Even just kind of getting the rep. I'll do Zooms in our staff meetings with reps so that they can just talk about 2 or 3 favorite products, just so the staff kind of has a fresh idea of some verbiage relating to those products or treatments. And reps are really great to be in person, face-to-face, assisting with events. I've even had reps come help me set up tables, set up a little, informational promo area. they can do, a lot of times I can even, a good trusted rep, I can turn over some of my patients for like an on-site or off-site lunch and learn, where they can just kind of ask for specific sales and educate our patients. On-site events too, having a rep in person to demo certain products or just talk about, the treatments that we're starting to advertise is great. Super helpful. And I love including them because it just takes one extra little, gives some personal interaction that doesn't have to be completely on your plate. Another thing, like kind of tip number 4 is if you're considering a new retail line, at-home device, or treatment, be sure to get extra clear on what they can contribute. And if even if it's just something that's like off the cuff for you and you want to just see if it's possible, be sure be sure that you ask. They can say no, or maybe they have an alternate idea. A lot of times, just kind of sparking a little bit of an idea for them, kind of give them a little bit of time to put their heads around it, and they can come back with something that they can contribute, especially when they know that you're serious about that kind of stuff. How do I manage events? Do you PowerPoint presentations? So Sam was asking like how I manage events. Do you do PowerPoint presentations? Do you just briefly discuss things and then hopefully people buy? Do you have like a schedule of things for events? I've done all of these things in different ways. I've never done a PowerPoint presentation, but a lot of times companies will already have some sort of like a commercial kind of, so to speak, something video or rotating, like something like almost like a waiting room blurb that I'll have going. If I have a rep that's there on site to help me with things, I've had people, a rep just stand by their product line or a rep stand by the laser machine and literally just do like test zaps on someone's arm and just explaining the products, or explaining the treatment. I just kind of circulate and let people kind of, ask me what their, questions. I try to keep things pretty loose and conversational because it helps people just kind of have the ease and a different kind of feel rather than that full clinical, way that we're operating day to day, where people can kind of ask more personal questions or just kind of different questions than they normally would when they're in the treatment room. And I do just kind of let people know what we have going on. I typically will have a specific special or bundle or something that we're highlighting that I'll have printed and available. And I typically will email it out to people ahead of time. So I just let people kind of ask me if they have any specific questions about what we're highlighting or something maybe that they're considering. And it ends up being, you got to ask for the sale. So yeah, I do kind of hope that people buy, but generally once you have them in the door for an event, they're there to contribute. They want something. So it's kind of just asking for what it is that what their concerns are and find those solutions for them. And another thing too that's really worked well is when the reps are there, they typically know kind of a quick little thing that they can do. We've all been at the conventions where you're going to be walking through the convention floor and someone grabs your hand and rubs a cream on it and you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, it looks amazing. So something like that where you can kind of get a quick gist and get a feel for something. Typically, yeah, for us, when people arrive, we kind of just have it a little bit like an open house style. That's just the way that I've found that it works. We've also done different events where we have like a sit down presentation where myself or another practitioner will kind of educate people on the specifics of, if we've done events where we've had skin health events. So people sit down, we have a little presentation about, optimal skin health during the winter. And then they then we have a Q&A, and then we kind of just let people mill around and talk to the professionals here in the office. And the reps will typically also want to present some part of, like, for instance, Jan Marini reps are always wanting to talk about the skincare management system. So that's a thing. They're always going to have a quick elevator pitch for that. And I kind of just let people explore the office, and we're lucky we have a lot of space, and just kind of let people kind of relax and be disarmed and make it a little bit like a cocktail hour, and help people with questions. The reps are really great for helping with questions, and then just, relax and enjoy a little bit of skin education. Again, for events like that, gifts with purchase or little special sachets of freebies are awesome. We've put together little takeaway bags, like a little gift bag full of brochures, full of little freebies and samples, and people love that stuff. And a lot of times for events too, I will have, like just for showing up, you'll get, $20 of Botox or $20 off a peel or something like that. So people can kind of learn about the specifics of what you're highlighting and come back for a treatment down the road. Another thing too is during in-person events, I like to keep a little pad and paper handy so that I can just jot down people's names and what they're concerned about or questions that they may have asked me, so that after the event, I can kind of circle back and follow up with them and see if they had any takeaways that they wanted to kind of follow up with a purchase. The other thing too to really consider when you're wanting to take on a new line is always ask about any buyout options or trade out options. This is really specifically for retail lines, but beyond Jan Marini, I think every line that I've ever brought into the office, they've bought out some other products of mine. So stuff that's like kind of not moving anymore and you're not really getting a lot of traction. I definitely am like, let's move this out and make room for yours. And even I've had product companies say that they don't do trade outs, and somehow they miraculously make it happen. So that's a bonus there. So that's something I would always say to consider. So let's see. Make sure that your vendors are going to contribute a significant amount of staff education and incentives, especially at first. Client education is key. So those lunch and learns or in-house events are super awesome. During the pandemic, we kind of got some good traction with getting people on Zooms for kind of like a more relaxed, just educational piece. Those are really great. So anything that they are willing to contribute there, I would say take them up on it, and be sure that if you have ideas and things that have worked for you in the past, throw it out there, and really consider multiple lines. Whenever you're looking to bring something on, have somebody else too that you're talking to, because they'll, even if you don't bite, they'll give you good ideas for the types of collateral and education that they can contribute. This is something I understand Sam recently brought on a new device. And device negotiations can be kind of hardcore. Sometimes it can be, a matter of weeks or months. For us, it was almost a year before we bought our most recent InMode device. But Kaylee was adamant, never pay full price. The price that they come in the door with is definitely going to change. It should change. This is totally normal and right. And if it doesn't change, do not do business with them. This is another thing. Speak their language. It credentials yourself. It helps to pose you as a center of excellence, and ask them to be a center of excellence for their device. You can offer to help do trainings, all sorts of different stuff, videos. When you're promoting this device online, like especially on social media, you're repping them as well. So make sure that, you're giving them that, be aware that the exposure that you're going to be giving them online or through your emailing or through your face-to-face interactions with your patients, that's going to help them sell down the road because, we understand how that all works. Be sure to ask about refurbished equipment. What's the cost of new versus used? The other term, another one of these terms is the CPO, certified pre-owned. And often, they have really stringent qualifications to get these devices back into other practices. And you can save tens of thousands of dollars on refurbished equipment. And I'm always chasing down our Luminous rep to be like, I want a refurbished light shear constantly, but I don't want to pay brand new prices. And this is something that I just recently learned about, and I think Sam might have some insight here, is a KOL. I'd never even heard that term, a key opinion leader. So you can actually position yourself. You want to share about that, Sam? Do you have a second?
Yeah, sure. So I should also, I don't know if this matters or not. So I also have past work experience as a sales rep for Medtronic. For those of you who don't know, Medtronic's, pretty large in terms of durable medical equipment. So my specific line was diabetes pumps. Anywho, so that kind of taught me a lot. But I 100% agree, never pay full price as much as they say, oh, this is the best price you'll get next month or whatever. It'll be totally different and way higher. Honestly, that's a complete lie. Always buy end of quarter. And if you can even do it like end of the year, because they'll pretty much lose money and not care. They just need to make the sale. And if you happen to make friends with your rep and you hear there's some sort of drama going on, like someone's going to lose your job or going to get promoted if they make the sale, they don't actually have to make a full price sale or even like a slightly discount. They can actually heavily discount it to the point where they're losing money, make the sale, get promoted or whatever. So that's just a little FYI. But you can definitely do a KOL agreement. So another way to present that to the company is sweat equity. So you can negotiate, look, I'll do 4 trainings for free, or I'll speak at 1 or 2 conferences gratis, and, kind of work that in. Of course, you want to kind of tailor that to like, how much money would you be getting for that if you were being paid or, an honorarium, even anything like that. And then you can negotiate that off. Obviously, they're only going to do so much of that, and you only want to do so much of that because it is a lot of time and preparation. Now, yeah, a lot of these companies do have their own slide decks and whatnot if you were to speak, but honestly, I don't like using them. I actually usually join it with whatever I make up. So usually part of my negotiation is like, I can use yours and have it sound very like staged, or I can make my own, which is going to take me time and this and that. And so I negotiate that in there. And I'm like, and at the end of the day, you're going to sell more because it's going to sound a lot more honest. But you can definitely do that. And that includes also, phone calls and stuff like that too. Like if they want to utilize you to say, hey, I have this person, they're thinking about buying, can you just give them your experience? And it's a very honest thing. And a lot of times people will do that for free, but these machines are so much money. Why not try to negotiate it into the deal? Because they're going to do it anyways. They're going to ask you anyways. You might as well make that part of it and get paid for it. They can always negotiate as much as they say they can, or they're like, oh, this is the best price we can do. No, it's not. It's never the best price they can do. And also, like, whenever you go to these different seminars that they throw and stuff like that, how they say, oh, this is like just out of the box and this and that. These are the stage models. And no, please, that's the same price for all of them. Whatever. That's such baloney. But always, I would say the biggest thing though is end of the quarter and then definitely end of the year. So
awesome. Great advice.
Yeah.
Have you seen a KOL agreement did you do that with the new
I have one.
I have
one with Aerolase. Yeah.
Cool. And it's just really great that even if they can't give you tons of different options for that kind of stuff, when you start talking to reps with these, talking about CPO and KOLs, when you're speaking their language, it just lets them know that you mean business. It's not your first rodeo, and you're there to, be professional and be real in the transaction.
Yeah. And the moment you hear like someone got X deal, like I can't technically say what I paid, but I had heard somebody got X, like that's what they paid. And so I was like, okay, so I want better than that person. Like it's not going to happen unless I get better than that person, because I always want to feel like I get the best deal. And usually they'll do their best to try to not make it happen, but at the end of the day, they'll probably make it happen. If not, they'll at least hit that number, even though they said, oh, that was like 5 years ago. We can't do that anymore. Yeah, they can. I'm sorry, but they really can. But yeah, I mean, with the KOL, like I like to speak and do stuff like that. I like to train, but it also helps credential you. I mean, like I think I'm finding more and more that most clients don't actually care about that. Nobody cares if you're doing stuff, but I think at the end of the day, it does kind of help credential you. And at the very least, it gets you a little bit more well known, especially the trainings. I think also what's nice about if you do trainings for other practices is you get to see what they do and how they kind of, what lines they carry, and like just it's kind of a way to learn more without like getting too personal with people in a way. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Totally. And then Kaylee added, after they tell you the best and final price, be sure to ask for more. Because
so I was
saying they get
down. Like, and ask for like extended warranties. Okay, well, what happens when I get this like maintenance, like, and then you can negotiate all that stuff in there too, by the way. So extra value, right, for you.
Wait, before you go. Hey, if you're vibing with this conversation and you want to join me on my mission to help 100 inspiring and intentional women cross the next $1 million milestone in their business this year, or leader, maybe you want to become one of them, head over to Facebook and join our free community, the Fierce Factor Society. Over there, we're taking this conversation to an elevated level. Get access to resource guides, podcast supplements, guideposts, and direct communication with me, my expert team, and of course, a society of fierce women making big moves and disrupting the status quo in aesthetic wellness. You can link directly through the show notes or head to Facebook and search the Fierce Factor Society. See you there, goddess.